Hello, English learners, and welcome back to your daily space for learning English. My name is Jay, and today we are going to start something very special. The title of this lesson is Speak English Naturally, and by the time we finish, you will not only understand what this means, but you will also feel ready to use English in a natural, confident way in your daily life. I want you to imagine for a moment that you are having a conversation with a friend. You're not thinking about grammar. You're not worrying about mistakes. You're just talking, laughing, and enjoying the moment. That is what it means to speak English naturally. And that is exactly what we are going to practice together in this video. Now, I know many of you have studied English for years. You may know grammar rules, you may know many vocabulary words, but when it's time to actually speak, your brain freezes. You stop, you think too much, and the words don't come out the way you want. If this happens to you, don't worry. You are not alone. In fact, this is one of the most common problems English learners face all over the world. The good news is that you can change it, and you can change it faster than you think. The key is to stop focusing on perfect English and start focusing on natural English. Perfect English is something that even native speakers don't use. Natural English is the kind of English people use every day in real conversations. Simple, direct, clear, and full of life. That is what we will practice together today. Let's start with mindset, because the way you think about English is the foundation of how you speak. Many learners believe they cannot speak until their grammar is perfect, or until they know a long list of advanced vocabulary words. But this is not true. Fluency does not come from perfection. Fluency comes from practice. Think about children for a moment. When children are learning their first language, they do not wait until they know every word before speaking. They try, they make mistakes, they repeat, and they learn as they go. This is why they learn so fast. You need to adopt the same mindset. Stop waiting for the perfect moment to speak. That moment will never come. Instead, start speaking with what you know right now. Even if it is simple, even if it is not perfect, it is still English, and every time you use it, you are improving. So here is your first challenge. I want you to speak English to yourself every day. Yes, talk to yourself. It may sound strange, but it is one of the best ways to train your brain to think in English. For example, when you wake up in the morning, you can say, "Good morning. I feel tired today, but I'm ready to start my day." When you are cooking, you can say, "I'm making breakfast. I'm frying eggs. I'm cutting bread." When you are walking outside, you can say, "I'm going to the bus stop. The weather is hot today." This is powerful because it forces your brain to create sentences in English without translating. Over time, it will feel more and more natural, and you will notice that words come to your mind faster. Another important step to speak English naturally is listening. You cannot speak naturally if you do not listen to natural English. If you only listen to textbook audio, you will sound like a textbook. But if you listen to movies, podcasts, stories, or songs, your English will begin to sound more natural and alive. I want you to choose something you enjoy listening to. If you love movies, watch them in English. If you enjoy music, listen to English songs. If you like learning about history, science, or stories, listen to podcasts or audiobooks. The more you listen, the more your brain absorbs the rhythm, the sound, and the flow of natural English. And when you open your mouth, those same rhythms will start to come out. Let me give you a quick example. Imagine you are at a cafe and you want to order coffee. Many learners think they need a complicated sentence. They freeze and think, what is the correct grammar? Should I say, I want coffee, or I would like coffee, or give me coffee? But in real life, it is very simple. You can just say, can I have a coffee, please? That's it. Simple, polite, and natural. If the person asks, small or large, you can answer, large, please. No stress, no overthinking. This is what natural English looks like in daily life. Here's another example. You meet someone new and they say, hi, how are you? Many learners start worrying, should I say I am fine, or I'm doing well, or I'm okay? The truth is, it doesn't matter which one you choose. What matters is that you respond naturally, without stress. You can just smile and say, I'm good, thanks. And you? That is more than enough. Remember, real conversations are not about showing how many big words you know. They are about connection, about understanding, and about responding naturally. Now, I want to give you another small challenge. For the next 7 days, I want you to practice 3 things every day. First, speak English out loud for at least 5 minutes. You can talk to yourself, to a friend, or even record your own voice. Second, listen to something in English every single day, even if it is just a short video, a song, or a podcast. And third, learn 3 new sentences each day that you can actually use in real life. Do not just memorize new words, memorize sentences. Because when you learn a sentence, you already know how to use the word correctly in context. If you do these 3 things for just 1 week, you will already feel more natural, more confident, and more fluent in your English. Before we end this first part, I want you to think about one question. What does speaking English naturally mean for you? For some of you, it may mean having a smooth conversation with a friend. For others, it may mean speaking confidently in a meeting or while traveling. Whatever it means for you, keep that vision in your mind, because motivation is powerful. If you know why you want to improve English fast, you will have the energy to keep practicing every day. So today, we talked about the most important first steps in learning to speak English naturally. We talked about the mindset shift from perfect English to natural English, about the power of speaking to yourself, about listening to real English daily, and about using simple, clear sentences in real-life situations. These are your first tools for fluency, and they will make a big difference if you start using them today. In the next part, we are going to go deeper. We will explore how to think directly in English without translating, how to expand your vocabulary in a natural way, and how to sound more confident when you speak. So make sure you stay with me for part 2. Part 2. Let's start with thinking in English because this is one of the biggest secrets of fluency. Most learners translate in their head. They hear a question in English, Then they quickly translate it into their language, think of an answer in their language, and then translate it back into English. This process is slow, stressful, and full of mistakes. And the truth is, you cannot speak English naturally if you are always translating. So how can you stop? The answer is to train your brain step by step to think directly in English. One way to do this is with very simple sentences about your daily life. For example, instead of thinking in your language, I am hungry, and then translating into English, train yourself to just think the English sentence, I am hungry. When you look at the time, don't think in your language first. Just think directly, it's 10 o'clock. When you look outside and see the weather, don't translate. Say in your head, it's sunny today. The more you do this, the faster your brain connects ideas directly to English words, and the less you depend on translation. Another technique to help you think in English is describing what you see around you. If you're sitting in your room, look around and describe it in English. This is my chair, the window is open, my phone is on the table. If you're walking outside, describe the people and the things you see. A man is walking his dog. A car is driving fast. The shop is closed today. These short sentences are easy to create, and they train your brain to think faster in English. Over time, you will notice that you begin to respond automatically in English without translating. That is the first step to speaking English naturally. Now let's talk about vocabulary, because many learners believe the secret to fluency is knowing thousands of words. But here's the truth. You don't need thousands of words to speak English naturally. You only need the right words, the words you actually use in daily life. If you know 1,000 difficult words but never use them, they are not helpful. But if you know a small set of common words and phrases and can use them easily, you will sound natural and fluent. The best way to learn vocabulary is in context, not as single words. For example, instead of memorizing the word hungry, learn the whole phrase, I'm hungry. Let's eat something. Instead of memorizing the word busy, learn the phrase, I'm busy right now. Can we talk later? When you learn words inside full sentences, you already know how to use them in real conversations. Here's a small challenge for you. Every day, choose 3 new sentences to learn and use. Not just single words, sentences. For example, you might learn, can I have a bottle of water, please? Or, I'm looking for the bus stop. Practice these sentences out loud, write them down, and then try to use them in your daily life. Even if you don't talk to someone else, you can still practice by saying the sentence to yourself in the right situation. If you are drinking water, say, can I have a bottle of water, please? If you are waiting at a bus stop, say, I'm looking for the bus stop. This way, the vocabulary becomes part of your natural speaking. Now let's talk about confidence. Because even if you know the right mindset and the right words, many learners still feel nervous when it's time to speak. Confidence is not about never feeling nervous. Everyone feels nervous sometimes, even in their own language. Confidence is about speaking anyway, even when you feel nervous. The best way to build confidence is practice. The more you speak, the more comfortable you will feel. Start small. If you are shy, begin by speaking to yourself in English every day. Then try speaking to a friend, a teacher, or even a stranger in English. The first time you do it, your heart may beat fast and your voice may shake a little. But the second time, it will be easier. And the third time, even easier. Confidence grows each time you practice. One tip I want you to remember is this: speak slowly. Many learners think they must speak fast to sound fluent, but this is not true. Fluency is not speed. Fluency is flow. If you speak too fast, you may make more mistakes and lose confidence. If you speak slowly and clearly, people will understand you better, and you will feel more in control. Think about it. When you listen to English podcasts or teachers, they often speak at a clear and steady pace. You can do the same. Don't rush. Take your time. Speaking slowly is not a weakness. It is actually a strength. Let's practice this with a short dialogue. Imagine you are meeting someone new. They say, "Hello, what's your name?" You don't need to rush. You can smile, pause, and say slowly, "My name is Anna. Nice to meet you." Then they ask, "Where are you from?" You can answer, "I'm from Brazil. How about you?" This short, simple conversation is natural, clear, and confident. Notice that you didn't need big words or long sentences. You just needed to answer calmly and naturally. Here's another example. Imagine you are at the airport and you need to check in. The staff member asks, "Can I see your passport?" Don't panic, don't rush. You can simply say, "Sure, here it is." If they ask, "Do you have any bags to check?" you can reply, "Yes, I have one bag." Simple, polite, and confident. When you practice these small dialogues slowly and clearly, you build both fluency and confidence. Before we end this part, I want to give you another challenge. The next 7 days, choose one situation from your daily life and practice a short dialogue for it. For example, if you often go shopping, practice the sentences you need at a shop. "How much is this?" Or, "Can I pay by card?" If you often meet new people, practice greetings. "Hi, nice to meet you," or "How are you doing today?" If you often use transportation, practice travel sentences. "Where is the train station?" Or "What time does the bus leave?" Practicing these dialogues every day will make you ready for real-life conversations, and you will notice your confidence growing day by day. So today we learned about 3 powerful steps to speak English naturally. We learned how to think in English without translating, how to expand your vocabulary naturally with sentences instead of single words, and how to sound more confident by speaking slowly and practicing real-life dialogues. These 3 steps will make your English more natural, more clear, and more enjoyable to use. In the next part, we will go even further. We will talk about how to practice speaking when you don't have a partner, how to improve your pronunciation so you sound more natural, and how to train your brain to keep English flowing even when you are tired or nervous. So stay with me, because the next part will take your English to an even higher level. Part 3. Let's start with the question many learners ask me: how can I practice speaking if I don't have a partner? This is a very common challenge, especially if you live in a country where people don't use English every day. The good news is You don't need a partner to practice speaking. In fact, you can make a lot of progress on your own. One of the best techniques is shadowing. Shadowing means listening to a sentence in English and immediately repeating it out loud, trying to copy the rhythm, the sound, and the speed. For example, you might listen to a short clip from a movie, pause it, and then repeat the sentence exactly as the actor said it. If the actor says, "What are you doing today?" you repeat, "What are you doing today?" with the same tone and rhythm. This is a fantastic way to practice speaking alone because it gives you a real model of natural English to copy. If you practice shadowing just a few minutes every day, your speaking will become faster, smoother, and more natural. Another way to practice alone is recording yourself. Choose a topic. Maybe talk about your day, your hobbies, or your goals, and speak for 2 or 3 minutes into your phone. Then listen to your recording. At first, it may feel strange to hear your own voice, but this is one of the best ways to notice your progress. You will hear which words you say clearly, which words are difficult, and where you need to improve. Over time, you'll also notice that you sound more confident and fluent. Many learners tell me that this practice makes them realize, wow, I can actually speak more English than I thought. Now let's move on to pronunciation. Many learners worry about their accent. They say, "I want to sound like a native speaker." But let me tell you something important. You do not need a native accent to speak English naturally. There are millions of English speakers all over the world with different accents, and that is completely fine. The goal is not to erase your accent. The goal is to be clear, confident, and easy to understand. Natural English is not about sounding like someone else. It's about making sure people can understand you easily. So how can you improve your pronunciation? The first step is listening carefully. Pay attention to how native speakers connect words. For example, instead of saying, "What are you doing?" very slowly, they often connect it and say, "What you doing?" Instead of saying, "I am going to," they may say, "I'm gonna." You don't need to copy every shortcut, but listening to these patterns helps you understand and use English more naturally. The second step is practicing difficult sounds. For example, many learners find the difficult, like in think or this. If this is hard for you, spend a few minutes each day practicing think, 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 this, this, this. Over time, your tongue and mouth will get used to these sounds, and they will come out more naturally. And the third step is rhythm and stress. English is not only about words, it's about music. Native speakers use stress to show meaning. For example, if I say, "I didn't say he stole the money," the meaning changes depending on which word I stress. Practicing rhythm and stress will make your English sound much more natural. Let's practice together for a moment. Listen and repeat after me. I want to learn English. Now say it again, but put stress on want. I want to learn English. Notice how the meaning feels stronger. Now stress English. I want to learn English. It feels different, right? This is why rhythm and stress are so powerful. Practice short sentences like this, and your English will start to sound more alive. Now let's talk about a big challenge. What to do when you feel nervous or tired. Maybe you are in a conversation and suddenly your mind goes blank. You want to say something, but the words don't come. This happens to every learner, and even to native speakers sometimes. The key is not to panic. The more you panic, the harder it becomes to speak. Instead, use simple strategies to keep the conversation flowing. One strategy is using filler phrases. These are short expressions that give you time to think. For example, you can say, "Well, let me think," or "That's a good question," or, "You know, I'm not sure, but maybe." These phrases are natural in English, and they give your brain a few extra seconds to find the right words. Another strategy is to keep your sentences short. If you are tired or nervous, don't try to make long, complicated sentences. Instead of saying, "Well, if I had the opportunity, I think I would like to travel to different countries to experience the culture," you can simply say, "I want to travel. I want to see new places." Short sentences are clear, easy, and still natural. You don't need to impress people with big words. You just need to communicate your idea. Here's a little challenge for you. The next time you practice English, try speaking for 2 minutes about your day, but use only short sentences. For example, "I woke up early. I had breakfast. I went to work. I talked to my friend. I watched a movie." Simple, clear, and natural. This exercise will show you that you can actually say a lot in English without stress. And once you feel comfortable, you can start adding longer sentences little by little. Before we finish this part, let me give you one more tip. Relax your body when you speak. Many learners get tense when they try to speak English. Their shoulders go up, their voice becomes tight, and they feel stressed. Try to relax. Breathe deeply before you start speaking. Smile, even if you don't feel like it. Smiling makes your voice sound warmer and more natural. Remember, English is not a test. It's a tool for connection. If you can relax, your English will flow much more easily. So today, in part 3, we talked about 3 important skills. We learned how to practice speaking even when you don't have a partner, through shadowing, recording yourself, and daily practice. We talked about improving pronunciation by listening carefully, practicing difficult sounds, and paying attention to rhythm and stress. And we learned how to keep English flowing when you feel nervous or tired by using filler phrases, short sentences, and relaxation. These are the skills that will help you speak English naturally in real conversations, not just in the classroom. In the next part, we are going to bring everything together. We'll talk about building daily routines that guarantee fluency, how to stay motivated when learning feels hard, and how to finally feel like English is part of your life, not just a subject you study. So don't miss part 4. It's the final piece of the puzzle. Part 4. Let's begin with daily routines. Many learners believe they need hours and hours every day to improve English, but that's not true. The secret is consistency, not time. Even 15 minutes a day can create real fluency if you use it well. Imagine this. You wake up in the morning, and instead of scrolling social media in your language, you listen to a short English podcast while brushing your teeth. That's 5 minutes of natural input. Then, while eating breakfast, you read one page of an English article, maybe about news, sports, or hobbies you like. That's another 5 minutes. Later in the day, you spend 5 minutes shadowing sentences from a TV show or YouTube video. That's 15 minutes total, and you didn't even feel like you were studying. If you do this every day, English becomes part of your life, like brushing your teeth or drinking water. It's not a big event. It's a habit. Another key part of your routine should be speaking. Yes, even if you are alone. Every day, give yourself a 2-minute speaking challenge. Talk about what you see around you, what you are doing, or what you are planning. For example, I'm sitting in my room. I see my laptop. I am thinking about my plans for today. I want to finish my work and then call my friend. Simple, short sentences every day. Over time, this becomes automatic. You don't need to prepare, you just speak. This daily speaking habit is one of the fastest ways to turn English from something you study into something you live. Now let's talk about motivation. Motivation is like energy. It goes up and down. Some days you feel excited, and other days you don't feel like learning at all. That's normal. The secret is not to depend on motivation. Instead, build systems that make it easy to keep going. For example, set up your phone in English. That way, every time you use it, you are practicing. Or join an online English community where you can share progress and challenges. When you see other learners practicing, it gives you energy to continue. Another powerful tool is tracking your progress. Keep a small notebook where you write down one English sentence you learned every day. After 1 month, you'll look back and see 30 sentences. That will give you confidence. Wow, I'm really improving. One more important point about motivation. Connect English to your dreams. Don't study English just because it's a subject or because someone told you to. Think about why English matters to you. Maybe you want to travel. Maybe you want a better job. Maybe you want to make international friends. Maybe you just want to feel free when speaking. Whatever your dream is, remind yourself every day. English is not just grammar. English is the key to my dream. When you connect English to your personal goals, it stops feeling like homework. It feels like freedom. Now let's talk about identity. This is something most learners don't think about, but it's very powerful. If you think of yourself as someone who is bad at English, you will always feel nervous and afraid. But if you start seeing yourself as an English speaker, everything changes. Notice I didn't say a perfect English speaker. I said an English speaker. You don't need perfect grammar to call yourself that. If you can use English to communicate, you are already an English speaker. Start telling yourself that identity. Write it down. I am an English speaker. Say it out loud every day. The more you believe it, the more natural English will feel to you. Here's a challenge for you. For the next 7 days, every morning, say out loud, I am an English speaker. I use English every day. English is part of my life. Then practice your 15 minutes of listening, reading, and speaking. After 1 week, notice how different you feel. This small change in identity can create a huge difference in confidence. Before we finish, let me share a simple formula that I call the natural English cycle. It has 3 steps: input, output, and reflection. First, input. Listen and read something in English. This gives your brain new material. Second, output. Speak or write about it. For example, after listening to a podcast, say 1 sentence about what you learned. Third, reflection. Think about what was easy and what was difficult. Maybe you forgot a word. Maybe you felt shy. That's okay. Notice it, and tomorrow, try again. This cycle, input, output, reflection, is the engine that keeps your English growing every day. So let's bring everything together. To speak English naturally, you don't need perfect grammar. You need connection. You need confidence. You need daily practice. In part 1, we learned the mindset. In part 2, we learned to think in English. In part 3, we learned practical techniques. And here in part 4, we learned how to make English part of your daily routine, how to stay motivated, and how to see yourself as an English speaker. If you combine all of these steps, you will not just study English, you will live English. And when you live English, fluency becomes natural. My final message to you is this: don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait until you feel ready. Start today. Even if it's just 5 minutes, even if it's just 1 sentence. Every small step counts. English is not about perfection, it's about progress. And I promise you, if you keep going, one day you will look back and realize, wow, I can speak English naturally. I did it. Thank you so much for joining me in this 4-part journey. I hope you practice these steps every day. If this lesson helped you, please share it with a friend who is also learning English. And remember, you are not alone. We are learning together. You are an English speaker. Believe it, practice it, and live it.